Hi, I'm Bella Boss, and my nonfiction book of choice was The Diary of Anne Frank. A little summary about this book is it's about Anne Frank. She's the one who writes in it, and it's from 1942 to 1944 in Amsterdam, Netherlands. She really writes this book to document her feelings and struggles through the war and ultimately just keep a record of her feelings. It starts when she's 13 in 1942, and in the beginning of this book, she's just a normal 13-year-old. She's worried about boys and like how her life is going to play out. And then one night, because of the regulations on Jews, she has to go to the annex. The annex is basically an office a building that her father works in, and it's the top room of that. She lives there with Otto Frank, her father, her mother, and her sister Margaret, as well as Otto Frank's co-worker, the Van Dans. The Van Dans bring their family. It's Miss Van Dan, Mr. Van Dan, and Peter. Throughout the book, Anne has very negative feelings towards her mother, and she just feels very misunderstood by her family, feeling kind of suffocated by their presence. Here's a photo of all of them. They look like normal people, as you would expect. Throughout the book, she is continuously feeling very ridiculed by Miss Van Dan as well, where Miss Van really criticizes her strong opinions and thoughts and calls Miss Van Dan Anne annoying, unladylike, very. Miss Van Dan really paints her as an arrogant person. She spends much of her time studying, though, as the war continues. And although there's parts in the book where there's bombings, they're scared they're gonna get found out, she really maintains a really positive outlook on life, which I personally could not even imagine. They hear news through radio updates by the Dutch government. And the longer they are under intense pressure of the war, the more the annex fights with one another. And by 1944, rules became stricter than ever in efforts to not be caught by the Nazis. Anne felt very alone with her family and had immense hopes that Hitler would be defeated. Before the family was taken, Anne speaks on how she wished she could live a different way, be a different way. That morning, she was taken August 4th in 1944. Along with it, her diary ended. Herself, her family, and the rest of the individuals living in the annex were taken to Auschwitz. Anne later died from a typhoid outbreak in the camp. Her father was the only one who lived past the annex. What made this book really impactful was its history of the Holocaust and the persecution of the Jewish community in World War II by Adolf Hitler. It really shows the struggles that the community had to face within it and shows a very humanized version of the story of the Holocaust. And also, Anne's hope throughout the book is so inspiring even after the war is past. She's able to keep a really positive outlook, which is inspiring to the reader throughout the book. A connection to a current event happening right now is the oppression of groups of women currently living in Islamic governments like Iran and Afghanistan. Their government, while on a lower scale, is also persecuting them and not allowing them to access their own life or mandating hijabs and suppressing them through government action, just as Anne was suppressed by her government. A Big 12 thematic question that connects to this tragic display of anti-Semitism is, what do we learn from hardship? Frank is able to learn to be more flexible with her family and knows when to not express her opinions to the full extent. Frank is also able to learn to be more flexible with those who she does not find very engaging. She has to room with her dentist, Mr. Drusel, in the events, and he is very loud and obnoxious, and she learns to adapt and live with it and understand that this is now her life, and teaches the reader that they can also work through hardship and struggle and become more adaptive in their own life. My personal reflection on this book is I really enjoyed reading this. While it was a slow read and spunky and very interesting, and it also felt very personal to read to the reader. I would recommend this book to anyone who loves history or wants to learn more about the Holocaust. Thank you for listening.